This is The Roman Show.
Nate, big win for you tonight, big knockout. After a back-and-forth first round, you came out and stopped him first thing in the second. How's it feel, first of all?
That feels great, man. Yeah, I'm just really excited, and I really believed it. I know I was on a bad run there, but I was like, man, I really feel good in the gym, and I feel like I just feel like I could go in there with anyone, honestly, and I think it really it came out in the fight today.
You've been around this game for a long, long time. Is it tough to not give up hope if you have a couple tough losses? You feel like you feel you had it still, but you still have to prove it, right?
Exactly. That was the thing. Like, I felt that way in my before my last fight, and then, not to make an excuse, but it is an excuse, I guess. The altitude really affected me, and I just wasn't able to perform. But like I said, in the gym, going with top level guys, I just knew I was right. I'm right there at the top. I know it. With the guys I've been going with, and so it was really good because a lot of people kind of turned their back on me and stopped believing in me. Even close friends from the past. So I'm kind of it was definitely tough, but it feels so good now.
You took some shots in that first round. Didn't look like you really find your range, your rhythm, but all of a sudden that right hand came out of nowhere. Is it something you saw that you could set up?
Yeah, well, so the first round, I kind of got out of position with my back on the cage, and so I circled right back to the center, and that was first round. And then between rounds, Trevor told me, he said to start opening up, start looking for the right hand. So first round, I was mainly focused on jabs and just kind of getting that distance and timing, and once I got it, the right hand was there.
51 pro MMA fights. When you started fighting, did you ever think you would get to 50-plus fights?
Yeah, because some of the guys I fought back then they were on their 50th fight. So, yeah, that was definitely something that was common back then. So.
After going through
Well, yeah.
CB's coming off 2 losses as well going into the fight. Do you feel that desperation for him to get a win is what contributed to him leaving himself open to get hit?
I don't know about that. I feel like he fought pretty smart. He was pretty conservative. I noticed though when he really decided to go forward and kind of he lost that. He was more open when he was aggressive going forward. When he was conservative, he was actually pretty hard to touch. Like I'm surprised because I spar with a lot of really fast boxers and I'm good on the distance and stuff. And a couple of my jabs were a foot or 2 feet away from him when I'd come forward. And so he had a really good distance when he was conservative. But as soon as he decided to be the aggressor, he opened himself up. So
tell us about the difference that you feel like from welterweight to middleweight. Your body, how do you feel?
For me, it was kind of like a downhill spiral with being at welterweight. At first, I felt great because I had been training at middleweight, and at middleweight I eat whatever I want and I recover and everything. And so the first fight was great, but then after that, I because of dieting. I'd never experienced this before. After being off of a diet and being like, I can eat whatever I want, I blew up to heavier than I'd ever been, and then having to cut back down, and then blowing up again and having to cut back down. And then also the other problem is when you're dieting and you're training, you're not allowing yourself to train at 100% of your potential because you're malnutrition basically. So. Training wise, I feel way better, and yeah. So the weight cuts, secondary issue. The weight cut the week of the fight, I feel great, and I can see other guys that are kind of miserable, and third issue is there's a thing called cerebrospinal fluid that protects your brain from concussions, and when you cut a certain amount of your body weight, you can't completely rehydrate. And if that fluid doesn't completely fill back up, you're a lot more susceptible to concussions. And so I definitely feel better at 85.
You had success for so long, and then you went through your slump. Do you attribute that to something about you, or that your opponents were getting better, or the sport was evolving? How did you see that?
I see. for me, it's all about me because, the things I do and don't do. And if I go in there with a good mindset, that's half the battle right there. Like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. Cutting weight, having the wrong coaches, having the wrong mindset going in, being emotional, fighting. All these things were just, took me from a world-class fighter to, a okay fighter. And I feel like we've worked really hard on those things. And technically, like I said, Trevor built me from the ground up again, and I'm back there technically. Mentally, I've worked with him a lot, and just in sparring, really focusing on the things that I need to go in there and perform. Obviously, the weight cut's not an issue now, and nutrition, and I have a really good strength and performance coach that's, got me. He put 5 pounds of muscle mass back on me, and just so I really feel like everything's set where it needs to be as far as my coaching and my mindset.
You just beat the number 12 guy in the division. Where do you think this puts you in the rankings, and who do you think you might get next because of that?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I'm right there. I know going in there, I've been sparring with some really good guys, really world-class guys, and I know I'm right there at that level. And if I go in there with the mindset I did today, I can beat anyone. And so I don't really care about rankings and all that stuff. The guys in the UFC, man, any of the top 20, those guys are tough, and any one of them can, can be one of the best fighters. So the rankings really don't matter too much to me.
The last time you were in the middleweight division, all the guys that you had fought in the past, Chael, Yushin, Anderson, they were all still on top of the world, and look at them. Yushin's outside the UFC, so is Chael. Anderson's been gone for a while. What does it say that you're still around and that you're still winning here?
I don't know what it says, to be honest. Maybe I'm a little more hard-headed and I don't give up. I don't know. Yeah, I really do love this sport for. I love the training. I love the brotherhood in the gym, and really it's just it's a good platform for me. So I really enjoy it. It's fun, and I get a lot of family time, and yeah. So.
Nate, Andy Foster from CSEC suggested they want to make new weight classes, basically eliminating the 170 weight class and making a 175 weight class. Is this something you support? It may happen this week, so I'm sure you didn't get to see the news. But
and what would happen with the 170?
There will be no 170. It'll be 155, 165.
Oh, I see. 65. So every 10 pounds.
Yeah, every 10 pounds. Is this something you think is better for the sport? The weight classes just being too far apart?
I think it's a good idea. I mean. I'm sure there's guys. Yeah, I think like some of my buddies thinking about them. I think it would be good for them to have a 75 class because they're cutting down to 70, and that last 5 pounds can really be dangerous. I think one guy just recently passed away, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So I mean, and guys have known for years, for the whole time that cutting too much weight is dangerous. It's dangerous, and then also, we're not in there just wrestling. We're getting hit, and like I said, the concussion issue, it can be dangerous. So.
That concussion thing that you mentioned, is that something that you learned just throughout your time in MMA, or did you do that research yourself? Somebody come up to you and kind of tell you that?
Yeah, I did the research because when I'd never been knocked out before in my career, and then at 170. And it was weird because, like, in the gym, I could just take punches and, I'd spar with boxers and stuff, and I take a punch pretty well. But then, I'd never had that happen before. So I looked into it, and I was like, man, what's going on? And so I found that, and then I've had other, I've talked to neurosurgeons that obviously agree with it, so.
Talk to us about the after effects of getting knocked out. Like, did you experience some concussion symptoms and all this?
I never did. Thank God. I never had anything lasting. But also I was really smart about it. Like I didn't go right back to training. I took probably a good month off of training, and then even from sparring, I don't think I sparred for, I don't know how many, like several months, because I wanted to make sure that I was healthy so that I wouldn't do more damage, you know. I believe concussions, like if you have a concussion, let's say you have a mild one, and then you go spar, it's like getting a bruise and then just hitting the bruise over and over. It's just going to make it worse. It's going to cause scar tissue and all kinds of stuff. So it's, I think that's the danger, guys, jumping back into sparring too soon. I really think those, what do you call them, the medical suspensions, I think those are important, and I think it's important for guys to follow those and not you know, brush them off. I mean, you take them seriously.
You excited for your boy Cerrone to win tonight?
Oh yeah, you know, that fight's gonna be great, and I think they're both great fighters, man. I'm really excited for that fight, and yeah.
This is The Roman Show.